The story of Softdrive began the first day I was given an underpowered machine to do my work.
Who would think somebody with a graduation in arts, BA, would be actually taking the AEC world into the innovation that you're doing?
There is a problem with physical devices, and there are performance problems with older devices.
It's a cloud-based platform, so it's not something that's, I have to actually purchase.
Welcome to the BIM Student Podcast. In this podcast, we talk to leaders, followers, innovators, and adopters from our AEC industry. Like a student, I ask questions that we all wanted to ask on our digital transformation journey, but never actually did. I explore concept, products, ideas, and future possibilities in digital transformation space. Each week, I meet with an amazing guest from the industry. I look forward to learn something new, share new experiences, thoughts, and opinions, and how to make BIM journey better for everybody across the board. In today's episode, I will be talking to Leonard Ivey. Leo is a co-founder at Softdrive. And about Softdrive, it is a technology that puts PC into cloud. Through a downloadable application, Softdrive can turn old, underpowered computers into powerful workstations. Sounds interesting? Let's hear more about the technology from its very own co-founder.
Welcome to the podcast, Leo. I'm so happy. By the way, can I call you Leo or do I have to call you Leonard?
No, you can call me Leo. Lots of people do.
Okay. So welcome to the podcast. And I'm so glad finally we were able to record this. And I'm really looking forward to our discussion.
So am I. You know what? Thanks for having me.
So just to start with, can you just give me a little bit of introduction about who you are, your professional, your personal background, anything that we would love to hear about, and Softdrive that we are going to be talking about in next 20 minutes.
Yeah, sounds good. So in the academic world, graduated from Western University with a BA. My professional background has been primarily in project management and sales before transitioning into my current tech role. Bounced around a little bit geographically. Journey began in Vancouver at Ledcor Construction, had a little bit of a travel bug and moved to Manchester, England, working for a steel merchant, returning back to Toronto to work for Ledcor once again, and subsequently a precast company called Precon.
Okay.
And throughout the journey, learned a ton, starting out as a coordinator, not knowing anything, then moving to estimator and eventually into project management and sales.
Oh, wow. So, who would think somebody with a graduation in arts, BA, would be actually taking the AEC world into the innovation that you're doing? And what about the Softdrive, your startup, something that I know is like your little baby?
Yeah, it's grown a little bit more than just a baby, which is great. But I grew up in the world of desktop PC gaming, enjoying the freedom of building your own computer and not having to worry about computer performance. And so the story of Softdrive began the first day I was given an underpowered machine to do my work. And that was running robust software. So construction industry has been, very much still is, transitioning to more digital practices. And that's utilizing Bluebeam, Revit, SketchUp, OST for like takeoff purposes. And that's, of course, because we're not carrying around half-size construction drawings anymore, right? Obviously, struggling to run that software left me frustrated since I wasn't as productive as I should have been. Now, I ran into my co-founder at a party that I didn't really want to go to, and neither did he. And we discussed our current professional challenges. His was looking for one of the leading chip manufacturers in the world. I won't name names, but he was struggling to run his software. And, we then thought, all right, if we're both having these issues, let's see what's out there. We looked, couldn't find an appropriate solution, and decided to start our own company. And that was, the intent of making high performance computers available on any device. So, I was given the typical ThinkPad with that red dot in the middle, $1,200, $1,500, expected to run, the powerful software, but I couldn't. So, our software is able to run on that, $1,200, $1,500, 3-year-old ThinkPad flawlessly. And then you're able to, on top of that, run, your existing, whether it's Revit, SketchUp, etc., or now the new 4D modeling technology.
Okay, so I want to know even in detail that what exactly is this technology? Like, I know when we talked first, you said this is something like if you like you're streaming movies on Netflix, you can stream your work. And I'm somebody like the Netflix junkie. So, just the word Netflix got me hung on and I did try it. But from your mouth, I want to hear what this technology is all about and who are you helping right now?
Absolutely. So there is a problem with physical devices, and there are performance problems with older devices. There's the maintenance expenses that follow, high capital expenditure costs with the newer devices. There's the remote work challenges throughout COVID and security and data loss issues that are kind of ever present as well, especially with the remote work environment. So what we're doing is solving these problems by putting the personal computer into the cloud. So we're helping eliminate the capital costs of purchasing new expensive equipment as organizations can subscribe to a super fast, streamed PC. So, as you were asking, what kind of is that? So more specifically, it's a lightning fast cloud desktop that's accessible on any Windows device. So through our application, customers can instantly turn that old existing device or even new underpowered hardware. So you can go out and buy like a $400 laptop. It can turn those into a powerful workstation. And as you mentioned, similar to how Netflix streams movies to your screen, we can stream this powerful computer.
Okay. Which means that I can run my Revit, my Navisworks, and maybe I can run a 3D rendering at the background on the same computer.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So as the industry has been moving, as I mentioned, over to like the 4D modeling technology, we're seeing that a lot of companies and organizations don't have the proper computer infrastructure to support these new technology. Mm-hmm. So they've already adopted some of the BIM practices, but they're realizing who can benefit a lot is the project managers, coordinators, site supers, but they don't have the powerful enough hardware. Okay. So, you're seeing Rhino, Fuser, Lumion, Enscape, those becoming much more popular. And so Softdrive is able to run those instead of you going out and purchasing a new device.
Which means that $500 laptop that my son's using for his online school, I can use that laptop to run. And it's like, it's a cloud-based platform. So it's not something that's, I have to actually purchase. Last May, I spent about $6,000 to get 2 computers because we do need super machines. Now, let's say a company like ours, we have used Softdrive last year. And I know there were some challenges back then. The technology is evolving and we'll come to that. But that time I was like, man, as an organization, especially I feel like a small company, they have challenge. Do they hire the best talent, spend money on that? And then do they get the machines that the best talents can use? So it's always a choice. And not every time you can have best of both. So I really feel that this is something which is very ideal for people like my company who are just budding, who are just in that process of learning. But also I think it's really great for large corporations who have to upgrade their computers every 3 years because that's the life of a computer. So let's talk about the technology evolving. Is there like a lag of, let's say we don't have a super fast internet? Is there a lag between what we are doing right now and what we see on streaming on the screen? Is there a lag there?
So we've developed our own proprietary remote desktop software. So what we discovered was in the remote desktop world, the existing softwares consistently produced, in our experience, not a great experience. You consistently see lag, which makes it very difficult to model. What we wanted to do is create a a experience that's somewhat indistinguishable from your local computer. So if you have the proper speed of internet, it should feel as if it's a local device. I was just speaking to a customer the other day who said he forgot he was in Softdrive and he couldn't figure out why he couldn't drag his window over to the Softdrive screen. And he said it took him a couple minutes to realize that he was in Softdrive. So it is something we take pride in, end user experience, in delivering something that doesn't have any lag. Now, to answer your question a little bit more specifically, if you have a poor internet connection under 15 megabits per second, there will be some latency issues. There will be a minor lag.
Let's say at a place, let's say working at a remote location or working where you will not get a 50 megabyte per second internet. How are you going to use Softdrive?
Yeah, so as I was saying, the minimum requirement is about 15, though of course 50 is great. But I'll speak about this, or I'll go into more detail, I think a little bit later, because I really like where the future is headed. But our existing internet infrastructure, as we all know, isn't great compared to some of, other countries, such as, the Asian side of things, but even in the States. Less expensive, there's more competition, therefore better internet service. However, what we're seeing right now is low orbit satellites and also 5G, coming into effect, which is making internet much more accessible. And what's exciting here is that internet is going to be much more accessible than every other infrastructure service. So, more accessible than water, electricity, and then obviously civil services like roads, etc. So this isn't fiction either, right? Those low orbit satellite with Starlink service is in the sky right now, approximately 1,700 floating around, delivering up to 1 gigabyte per second. So I think very soon we'll all have access to very fast and powerful internet. And we no longer will have to pay for ridiculous underpowered services to, our current providers, who I won't name names.
Yeah, no, there's no point. All of them are awesome.
All of them are, yeah.
So having said that, and I really want to take this opportunity to, if you can show us how does Softdrive work, because I think seeing is believing and experiencing is learning. So if you can show us how Softdrive works, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you mind sharing or allowing share screen?
Yes. Okay. You are now allowed to share.
Fantastic. So I'll show you the workflow of Softdrive. It is an application which you download onto your desktop. Currently, Softdrive functions on Windows 10 devices, though soon we will be expanding over to iOS and of course Chrome as we are loading in.
And I can see two cursors. So I can see a cursor that the Softdrive cursor.
You can see two cursors right now?
Yes.
Very interesting. I only see one right now.
Yeah, I see two cursors. One is frozen like I was frozen a few seconds ago. Yeah, I can see two cursors.
That's very peculiar. Okay, 1 second.
No, my bad. That was my cursor.
Oh,
that was my cursor.
That is very funny. Okay, that's interesting. So this is the Softdrive PC. It looks identical to a normal desktop, though it is all being streamed from the cloud. So if I'm to use this navigation button here, I can show you that in the background is my regular local desktop. But if I hit full screen, now this is my Softdrive PC. It's capable of multi-monitor, as you saw, windowed mode, so we can switch screens if you only want one window. And now transitioning over to some of the software, this is Fuser, which is becoming a lot more popular with kind of companies around North America. So if I was just to click, the play button, Fuser is a 4D modeling software for scheduling and coordination purposes. And as you see, it is quite graphically intensive, and Softdrive is able to handle it quite well. If I was to switch over to, I've got Revit running as well. Let's go to Revit. Let me move the zoom out of the way. Let me run Revit.
I'm able. Residential project in Revit.
There you go. The quintessential residential project is right. Beautiful. I'd love to have a home like this. we'll see.
In
Now,
Toronto?
excuse me?
In Toronto?
I would love. Everyone can dream. I think everyone has a
One can
right.
dream, yes. One can dream.
Yeah, and if I was to just quickly, load up Enscape as well to show you how this looks in this environment as well, I can show you that we're capable of easily switching between programs, pretty much in real time. So let us move over, make this full screen. And
your client is actually not wrong. It is very, very difficult, very easy to get confused that like on your own machine or you're actually on the cloud machine.
Absolutely. And this is one thing that we're really trying to emphasize is end user experience. We don't want that end user to feel as if they're in a remote environment. We want them to really be immersed in what we're creating.
Yeah.
So that's a little quick down and dirty. And if I was to also kind of open up, Word and just show you some of the real-time. Thank you for having me on the podcast. It appears more or less in real time, right? So we're quite proud on what we have worked on and developed. Of course, as you can imagine, with all products, we're still on the journey and experience of creating, what we truly have in mind. So, we try to use the learnings from our early customers, such as yourself, to help refine the product. And it's critical to understand what our users like. In this case, a lot of them have come back and said end user experience. And that's really what we have focused on. One of the biggest disappointments in this remote desktop realm and in these softwares is that the companies don't seem to want to put many resources in that end user experience. Their focus is on creating a tool that management loves, but the end users really aren't satisfied with. And what happens is there's a massive lack of adoption. A quick kind of sub-example is if we look at Skype, Skype dominated the market for a decade. And, that's primarily because there was no other alternative and we were forced to use it. But then when a experience like Zoom came along where, great user experience, immediately it took over, which is the platform we're using today. It just goes to show that our end users have a lot more power than they think. And it's critical that, you design that solution for them. Now, as I say that, though, we have made sure that we've created a tool that is equally as good for management as well. We want to simplify the process, provisioning, setup and maintenance so that they can focus, they being IT, on more critical areas of the business, not the hardware.
Okay. So which means that, like I said, back in, I think August was when I did use Softdrive of last year. And I did find that there were some really great features that the teams can use. Have there been, I'm sure there have been more improvements on stuff like disconnection, which is also internet related, but it's also sometimes software related, or stuff like, majorly it was disconnection that we were facing that time. And how have we improved on that?
Yeah, so I think the past year we've done a lot. So let me dive into that, and then I'll transition over to how we've addressed kind of our early growing pains, so to speak. So we, over the last year, have joined accelerators like Mars and DMZ, where I am at right now. We've developed, strategic partnerships with NVIDIA, Autodesk, and Oracle. And then we raised, over 1 million CAD for our pre-seed round. We then used that money to hire 5 rockstar developers to continue refining our products so we can deliver, that experience that we've been talking about and what I just showed you as well, which is really the future of high performance PCs. So at the very beginning, when you had tried it as an early user, it was just Alan and myself working on the product. And since then, we have hired, as I mentioned, 5 rockstar developers developers who have a lot more experience in certain respective domains who've helped perfect the product.
Okay. So which means that I have to give it a try one more time.
Absolutely, you do.
Before I upgrade this 3-4 grand machine to another 10 grand machine, I think I should give this another try and see for myself. One thing is there is always a cost to technology. And where do you think you are? I mean, there are other cloud computers available. If we talk about, and first of all, why are you so focused on AEC industry? Like why? Like there are other industries, there's gaming industry, there are other industries. Why do you want to focus just on AEC right now? And where is the price point? Like, I mean, you don't have to give like your exact price right now, but I'm just saying that why would somebody not have a compute, like a physical computer, and why would somebody go to Softdrive?
Yeah. Okay. So why AEC? I think it hits close to home. I experienced it myself. It was a pain that, something that needed to be solved. And I created with my co-founder, Alan, what we think solves and alleviates that pain.
Okay.
So I thought it was right that we'd start out in that industry to provide the solution and help alleviate pain for others.
Okay.
As I mentioned, the industry is really adopting that 4D modeling technology, and they're all looking at provisioning, new PCs anyways to run that software. So instead of them spending X amount of dollars on CapEx, perhaps they could use their existing computer infrastructure and subscribe to a streamed solution instead, like Softdrive. Now, as it relates to costing, etc., there are other solutions out there. However, those other solutions, as we've been told by our existing and soon to be new customers, that they are not great with the end user experience, as I keep emphasizing, but also their cost is somewhat prohibitive. And one of the big reasons there is they have not developed the virtualization on a bare metal server that we have. And that itself allows us to charge a price that is much more attractive and pretty in line, albeit a little bit of a premium, with purchasing, hardware for about $3,000. So our pricing is quite similar to that of you going out and provisioning hardware instead, even though we provide the managed service, help set up and maintain the devices, as well as introducing new features like multi-monitor support, single sign-on, and additional security features as well.
Okay, which means that it also takes the pain away from a company's IT department, that they have to upgrade or maintain machines every 3 years, because you're doing that for us. So at any point of time, we subscribe now or we subscribe 6 months from now, and we keep on using for next 3 years, we don't have to worry about upgrading the hardware. That's entirely up to you.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's perfect. Now, I think we've been talking about technology a lot, and because AEC hits really close to you, and also I know that you are not a trained engineer or an architect.
Oh, no, unfortunately.
So I have chosen some really special questions for you as a part of our Impossible questionnaire. We'll come back to Softdrive, but now it's also my time to test how much do you know about AEC industry now. So we call this Impossible questionnaire, and just to put you at a little bit of ease, a lot of people who come from academia or like having 20-30 years of experience are also not able to answer these questions. So even if you're not able to answer this, you should still be proud of yourself that you know about these.
Thank you for the support.
Anytime, from a startup owner to a startup owner. Okay, so let's get to our first question. And you might know the answer if you would have heard the prior podcast, because this is a repeat from many of our previous podcasts. So, which pipe fitting may not be used in a vertical drainage system?
Okay.
I'll give you 4 choices, and you have to tell me which one of them may not be used in a vertical drainage system.
Okay.
Cross fitting, Y fitting, double Y fitting, double waist fitting.
The double, the Y, and then what was the last one?
Okay, cross fitting, Y fitting, double Y fitting, and double waist fitting.
I want to say it's cross-fitting would not be the one used in a vertical drainage system. I mean, Y and double Y makes sense. I'm honestly not sure what the fourth one is, but
Double waist fitting.
I don't know what a double waist fitting is, to be honest, but I'm confident it's number one.
Oh, you know what? Common sense wins. Because a lot of people were not able to answer this question, even though they came from the industry.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. I had a little bit of experience working in precast with drainage. So it was a little bit of experience, not much though.
Okay, so then let me raise my bar. Let's see. Okay, so this is like purely architectural. What are the number of treads in a flight equal to, like when we design the stairs? So there is a particular formula that we use, that how many risers are there to the treads, or how many treads are there to the riser. So you have to tell me how many numbers of treads in a flight are equal to. So it's a riser plus 1, riser minus 1, riser in a flight. So how many number of risers is equal to the number of treads, or none of these?
Yes, I know, or I thought that the angle is something like 3-1. I could be totally off by saying that.
You're going in another direction. We're just asking the number of threads here. You know what? I'm giving you way too many hints. I shouldn't be.
That's what I'm trying to do, is trying to extract the answer. I'm just going to go ahead and say +1.
Which is riser plus 1. It's riser minus 1. Because 2 risers will make 1 tread. Okay.
I'll have to look it up.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last one. In a lock set, this is the safest door lock recommended in the main entry doors. Okay, so these are 4 kind of lock sets: the mortise lock set, the unit lock set, the cylinder lock set, and the rim lock set.
I don't actually know what the first 2 are, and Mortise lock set sounded great, so we're gonna go with that one.
Do you even know, or you're just guessing?
That's a pure guess.
Okay, because that's the correct answer. Mortise lock set is one of the safest lock sets for main entry doors. I mean, let's not even talk about the smart locks these days. These are the old school lock sets. But actually, I think I've seen some Mortise lock sets with smart connections also. So yeah, I think 2 out of 3 is a very good score. Right now, you might be one of the people with the highest score.
Wow, pat myself on the back.
Yes. So this is the fun part of, I mean, I always look forward to Impossible Questionnaire, because, everybody comes here as a subject matter expert and they know about their product and whatever topic we're talking about. But this is that only I know about. So, makes me feel better than everybody else. Okay, so this is the last part, and this is actually one of the most important parts of our discussion, which is the rose, bud, and thorn. I really look forward to from you that what is your rose as a benefit of today, bud, something that we are looking towards in future, and the thorn, one of your biggest challenges or one of your biggest risks of adopting this technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like me to pause between each one or go through them all?
You can go through them all.
Okay. I think our solution is exciting for lots of organizations who are kind of undergoing that digital transformation, very big buzzword right now. We've been helping, dramatically reduce IT time and reduce spend for IT infrastructure groups in AEC right now. So, Softdrive managed cloud PCs streamlines provisioning of machines and is able, as I've mentioned a few times, able to run on those $400 devices, extending their life and eliminating that provisioning cycle. This is especially helpful during our current supply chain issue that is going on right now. A lot of IT groups have looked at, cloud computers in the past and, found that cost being prohibitive, the experience wasn't great. We've developed some proprietary remote desktop software and GPU virtualization, which I think piques a lot of interest, especially on the cost. For the end user, I don't think we have to get into that again. Now, I want to switch the thorn, and then I want to talk about the bud, because I think the bud is the future, and I really would like to end off of that. So on the thorn, I suppose the biggest issue right now is the different standards of security across the industry. I think it's wonderful that organizations take security seriously, but I think like a building code that we have today, we should actually have a security code that businesses can follow. And the industry's digital presence is growing much larger, quite rapid. And what we're seeing is a very eclectic kind of security practice across the industry. This makes it really hard for us to develop a solution that fits nicely and plays nicely with that security practice, but also complements and enhances it. I think that's a critical piece there. It would really help if there was some sort of standardization that organizations could follow, and that standard, of course, would evolve. New threats emerge, or we learn something new, just like the building code evolves as well. On the bud side of things, I think this is where, we're really excited. We like to think of streamed computers and data centers exactly how electricity and power plants were in the 20th century. So before power plants existed, every company would run all of their power from a local on-site generator. Firms would have to purchase and set up and maintain those machines, much like kind of computers today. However, that was until the advent of a centralized power source, which is the power plant. And now, no one in the right mind would think about purchasing a generator except for backup purposes. Everything can be streamed as you need it. And that's how we're looking at data centers and streamed computers today. Why not tap into the power of the data center? We want to be able to dynamically adjust resources to supply the demand of your computing needs. You'll no longer need that expensive device. Instead, just that dummy machine that has basic components and an internet connection.
Okay. And your porn actually is sparking another different conversation for a different podcast. And I might bring you back for that and talk about actually the security and server connections and all of that. And actually talking about cloud computers in general, which is another day, another topic. And I'll always love to talk to you. This has been really great. I think like all technologies, this technology is growing. There is a lot of scope. I have a personal recommendation for Softdrive. I've used it. I've loved some parts of it. There were some parts I thought there needed improvement, and I'm sure you have done that. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited to try it one more time and see how I can bring my costs down as a business owner and experience something which is better.
I'm excited for you to try it. I'll reach out after the podcast so we can set something up.
Yes, sure. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm again, cannot thank you enough for taking out time and talking to us about this amazing technology, and hope we have you soon back for another episode.
Thanks for having me, Chetna. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.